Homer was walking the dog when suddenly, the puppy transformed into a voluptuous woman. This was already the 4th time she had tried to seduce him. Ever since Homer's unique singing voice made him a sensation at the opera house, he had become a red-hot superstar. But his fame came at a cost. He completely lost any chance of alone time with Marge. Even when they hid in a trash bin, overzealous fans would track them down.
Switching to thermal imaging.
Just then, a mysterious figure on a motorcycle jumped the fence and rescued them. When the rider removed her helmet, she revealed herself to be a stunning, long-haired beauty. Grateful for her help, Marge warmly invited her home for coffee. But the moment Marge stepped away, the woman stripped naked in front of Homer.
Now listen, Homer. You can have me anytime you want me.
Horrified, Homer tried to call for Marge.
But if you say one word to your wife, I'll tell her you attacked me.
Until the woman threatened him. Trapped, Homer had no choice but to stumble out, clothes in disarray. Oblivious to the truth, Marge even appointed the woman as president of Homer's fan club. From then on, Homer endured constant harassment. She even wore Marge's wig and waited in his bed. Finally, fed up, Homer drove her away with cruel insults, only to realize too late that he'd made a dangerous enemy. One day, as Homer poured dog food, a deadly cobra lunged from the bag.
I think someone's trying to kill you.
Marge, sensing something was wrong, teamed up with Chief Wiggum to protect Homer during his next performance. Through binoculars, she spotted the orchestra conductor loading a hidden weapon into his baton.
Chief Wiggums! The maestro is the killer!
Wiggum tried to intervene but clumsily tripped over a chair. The deranged stalker tore off her disguise and fired, only for Marge to heroically deflect the projectile with a musical instrument. The stalker collapsed, seemingly defeated, until police snipers opened fire, miraculously leaving her unharmed.
Luckily, the sniper bullet stopped her heart from pumping the poison through her body.
Even hospitalized, she taunted Marge right before being hauled off by police. After this ordeal, Homer decided to retire from showbiz and focus on his family. Homer puts on a skirt, trying to lure the Loch Ness Monster. But in the next second, the monster becomes obsessed with Mr. Burns instead. Seizing the opportunity, Burns successfully packages the creature onto a private jet. His plan? To shock the world and earn the adoration to crack the top 100 wealthiest list. He's prepared for this moment for a month. First, he showers the streets with cash to prove his power. Then he donates his entire fortune to boost his public image. But no matter how long he waits, no recognition comes. Furious, he storms into the charity office, only to discover Homer put his own name on the donations.
Oh, but we did get a very generous donation from Mr. Homer Simpson.
Staring at a statue of Homer, Burns nearly tears it apart in rage. Guilty, Homer offers a brilliant suggestion. Do something so legendary the world has to notice you. Burns takes the advice to heart. He will capture the Loch Ness Monster. Armed with a monster detector, they stake out the lake.
Gigantic amphibious life form. It's 80 meters long. Oh, good grief, and it's on my show. It's a small frog.
Frustrated, Burns bribes Homer to dive in and search. But Homer disappears for 3 hours.
Jill, you monster!
Refusing to be humiliated, Burns decides to drain Loch Ness. All they find? A cheap monster prop at the bottom. Just as everyone gives up, the real monster emerges behind Homer. The crowd panics and flees, except Burns, who strips naked and charges at it. No one knows how he tamed the beast, but it obeys him like a pet. Soon, the creature is on a plane headed to Springfield. Back home, Burns unveils his prize at a grand exhibition. The flashing cameras fill him with euphoria, until the lights disorient him. Stumbling, he knocks over the stage rigging, triggering a fire.
Burns would kill us all!
The disaster destroys his reputation, but the monster still adores him unconditionally.
He really want to give the lovable scamp a good home.
In the end, he lets go of his obsession, and as fate would have it, their monster-themed casino makes him richer than ever. Homer twirled in ecstatic circles in his toilet paradise, his overfilled bladder now conjuring hallucinations. Desperate, he even eyed a nearby trash can, though thankfully, he didn't go that far. Clamping his legs together, he hopped from foot to foot until he could hold it no longer. Abandoning his car, he bolted into the mall. He yanked an old lady out of the elevator and shoved himself inside, trembling uncontrollably the whole ride. The doors opened, and he shot out like an arrow, only to skid to a stop at the sight of a closed sign on the restroom door. No time for rage. The floodgates were failing. In a blur, Homer sprinted to another building. Finally, a working toilet. As he sighed in relief, savoring his hard-won victory, he turned to see a traffic cop slapping yet another parking ticket on his car. The sight of the windshield plastered with tickets snapped his last thread of sanity. Forgoing the lock, Homer stomped the gas, lifting the car's front wheels off the ground. But the boot held firm. Determined to meet his family by 5 p.m., he grabbed a construction saw and hacked at the lock. It shattered, along with half the car's frame. Somehow, after a few kicks and punches, the wreck still kinda drove. Cue a Fast and Furious montage. Homer weaving through traffic, only to spot Marge and the kids boarding a horse-drawn carriage without him. Enraged, he plowed through pedestrians, cut off the carriage, and demanded his family leap through the jagged, glass-strewn window. Marge wisely refused. Finally calming down, Homer pulled over and properly reunited with them. But as they set off again, their ride wasn't the only thing falling apart. Trash flew through the shattered windshield, smacking Homer square in the face. Bart was wildly gunning down enemies while piloting a bomber in VR.
Have a smart bomb, stupid!
Just as he was thoroughly enjoying the carnage, the officer informed him this was a real battlefield. They were using Bart to test the US military's bomber system. The reason Bart got selected was because of an anti-personality disorder test. The day before, Bart and Lisa brought back a patient's journal from the mental hospital, but Homer and Marge mistakenly thought Bart had mental issues. A terrified Homer and Marge immediately decided to secretly test Bart. Upon learning the truth,
Ay, caramba! That's what they think I am?
Bart intentionally answered wrong and started acting out deliberately. This made Marge and Homer even more convinced Bart had problems, so they pretended to throw Bart a birthday party.
Surprise! But wait a minute, my birthday's not for another 2 months.
Lured him onto a trampoline and brought him to a mysterious facility. All the children here were problem kids, tricked by their parents the same way. Realizing the severity, Bart immediately tried to explain.
Let me out! I was just playing a joke!
But the female officer in charge wouldn't listen. She promptly ordered Bart into the simulation pod. Just then, Marge called out of concern for Bart, but Bart, still resentful toward his parents, angrily declared he wanted to destroy society, then began frantically shooting at surrounding fleets in the simulator. Unexpectedly, he accidentally annihilated all enemies. All the problem kids watching were stunned by his skills. As Bart basked in their admiration, the officer revealed everything just happened was real.
That was no simulation.
You mean we were blowing up real stuff?
Bart immediately panicked, saying he never meant to hurt anyone. The officer ignored him instead, turning to the other children.
Does anyone else share the human boy's feelings?
All the problem kids shook their heads. Then the officer abruptly changed tone.
Were simulators.
In reality, this was the real antisocial personality test. All children except Bart had to remain for rehabilitation. Homer accidentally falls into an open grave, only to see his own name on the tombstone. Even creepier, his long-dead mother suddenly appears before him. But
I thought you were dead.
I thought you were dead.
this mystery traces back to Homer's fake death scheme. To skip work, he tossed a dummy off a waterfall. His co-workers bought it, hook, line, and sinker. Soon, the house loses power.
Your electricity is in the name of Homer J. Simpson, deceased. The juice stays off till you get a job or a generator.
Forced to reclaim his identity at the records office, Homer makes a shocking discovery. His mom might still be alive. Confused, he visits the cemetery and learns the grave he's mourned at for 25 years isn't hers. While frantically searching, he tumbles into his own empty grave where his deceased mom stands waiting. Overjoyed, Homer rushes home to share the news. But Lisa's suspicious grandma dives for cover when cops drive by. Her IDs are obvious fakes. Cornered, Grandma confesses 25 years ago, she sabotaged a bioweapon lab and became a fugitive. To protect the family, she vanished into an underground network.
In all those years, why didn't you ever try to contact me?
She leads Homer to the post office, where he realizes he forgot to renew his P.O. box. Classic Homer. Meanwhile, Mr. Burns spots Grandma and alerts the police. Officers storm the house, but Grandpa Abe fakes dementia to buy time. Just as Homer wonders who's aiding them, Chief Wiggum calls. Turns out, Grandma's lab raid saved his life years ago. He's been feeding her intel and misleading cops as payback. In the end, Grandma must flee again, but Homer smiles. Knowing she is out there, that's enough. Homer and Bart were speeding away in their car, desperately trying to shake off the cops. To escape, they cut through the cemetery and made it home.
Dad, knocking over gravestone is bad luck.
Moments later, they rushed out carrying armfuls of bowling balls and expertly rolled them into a winding pipe. The next second, bowling balls appeared in the hands of pet store owner Mo, because they were actually smuggled booze. All this chaos was thanks to the town's prohibition law. Homer, ever the alcoholic, figured the confiscated liquor would be destroyed at the dump. Risking it all, he stole a huge stash and became the media-dubbed beer baron. Teaming up with Mo, Homer started selling the illegal booze until a drunk customer ratted them out. Prohibition officer Wiggum raided Mo's tavern. But quick thinking and some drunk patrons helped them evade capture. Soon, Homer's stolen supply ran dry. His attempts at homebrewing ended in explosions, forcing him to cash out his profits and quit smuggling. But while withdrawing money, he ran into ex-Chief Wiggum, now broke and desperate after losing his job to Prohibition. Instead of anger, Homer felt pity and teamed up with Wiggum to overthrow the ban. As the new Officer Banner bragged about Prohibition's success, Wiggum staged Homer's arrest as the infamous beer baron, winning back public favor. The catch? Homer was sentenced to an 18th century stoning punishment. Marge defended Homer, arguing the law violated freedom, until Banner, mid-speech, stepped onto the stoning platform. Seizing the moment, Wiggum triggered the catapult, launching Banner into the sky. Then, a legal expert discovered the 200-year-old prohibition law had expired after just 1 year, meaning Homer walked free and Springfield's bars reopened in triumph. The millionaire's golf ball was just 0.1 millimeters away from scoring. When Bart intercepted it at the critical moment, this was already his 100th time stealing the ball. The millionaire was fuming with rage. And he did all this just to trade for a $10,000 phone. But the staff snatched away his entire basket of hard-earned balls just as he was hanging his head in defeat. The phone of his dreams suddenly fell from the sky. He began frantically using it to pull pranks. Just as he was having fun, Maggie suddenly appeared and confiscated Bart's phone. Right then, the phone's owner happened to call Maggie, sincerely apologized, and tried to return it. But instead, he gave Maggie a suggestion to install a tracking chip in the phone. That way they could monitor where Bart went to cause trouble. Clueless, Bart kept using the phone for pranks, but every time he was about to succeed, Maggie would appear at just the right moment. Even when he secretly dug for treasure in a coffin at midnight, he'd still find Maggie inside the coffin. The strange occurrences made Bart suspicious, and Lisa happened to discover the truth. She immediately told Bart. Upon learning the truth, Bart was furious.
They're spying on me.
The next day, he tied the tracker to a bird's leg. He was going to make his parents pay. Maggie noticed Bart's movement pattern had suddenly become erratic. They immediately drove off to chase him after traveling thousands of miles all the way to Peru. They still couldn't find Bart. Exhausted, Maggie fell asleep in front of a sacred statue. Unexpectedly, the statue came to life. It cast a spell, turning Maggie into a star in the sky, and showed her a vision of overprotected children in a tribe who were ultimately destroyed because they couldn't grow up. Only then did Maggie have an epiphany. Meanwhile, Homer finally realized they'd been chasing a bird all along, but none of that mattered anymore. Maggie hugged Bart with a face full of apology, while Bart casually drank his soda, acting indifferent. Just as Maggie started heading upstairs, Bart suddenly hugged her little leg tightly.
Never leave again.